Tonight, you're going to learn about some very interesting and innovative health technology that you've never heard of before, that'll activate your own body to renew, rebuild, and restore itself to a healthier state, to bring the body back into balance, and to assist us in keeping it in balance, all without any medications or side effects. This gets to the root of the problem, and it is solid science. It's just that the future is now with LifeWave. We can never say when our last day on Earth will be. But wouldn't it be wonderful to spend every moment of our lives in a state of vibrancy and vitality? What if you could even change the course of the aging process? I personally decided to partner with LifeWave because of just how revolutionary this is. There is nothing like it on the planet, and everybody needs it. So, in fact, I was a special educator and a teacher for over 40 years. It's in my blood. So I treasure this opportunity to educate you on LifeWave tonight. I've had a passion for health and wellness and feel completely grateful that this came into my life about 13 months ago. Phenomenal. Look at all these folks here, all different ages. We have some consistencies in what we're looking for in life. We just want to feel healthy at any age. I'm guessing that you even know a few young children that have a lot of health challenges. Look at all these examples of people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond. At each decade, we have concerns and challenges that come into our lives, but everyone is seeking an answer without having to medicate, without having side effects. We don't want to be stuck with something the rest of our lives. It's such a slippery slope. Stress, if you read these lists here, is a huge factor at every single stage of our lives. Our food is not the same. Toxins are everywhere. Don't watch the news. Plus, conventional medicine has nearly abandoned preventative medicine. When, like I said, what everybody really wants is just to be well without having to deal with medications. Let me tell you about epigenetics, which excites me to no end. Epigenetics means that our lifestyle and food choices can help us to not turn on genes that would give us major diseases that may be in our family history. If I went down the list in mine, you'd understand why this excites me. Prevention is key, as you probably know. Who do you know that's just not well these days? To me, there's too many to count. Every single day I talk to somebody about their health. If your well-being gets away from you, it affects every single aspect of your life. I believe your body knows what to do to heal if given the right tools. A friend asked me, have you ever heard of stem cells? And that's how I came to know about LifeWave's X39 stem cell reactivation patch. You heard that right. Tonight I'm going to share this with you and how it's made some of the greatest impacts on my personal health and so many that I've shared it with. But first, I'd like to share a health journey with you. This is pretty phenomenal, but it's typical also, which is kind of exciting.
I came to the patch, my brother, John, and he has given a testimonial probably a year ago, maybe a little bit longer than that. He started introducing me to the patch in May of 22, but I'm really a Debbie Downer doubter and I'm very data driven. And so I was really not interested in hearing about the patch. I don't have any pain. The only thing I noticed as I'm aging, I'm 61, and a year ago I was 60, and I felt like I was 60. I started losing energy. I didn't have enough energy to do the things I wanted to do. And last year, my brother's dog almost died in December of 22. And I told my brother, John, you're going to need to look at putting the dog down when you come back from Hawaii. And so they came back and my brother started patching his dog. And his dog was 16 years old. He had cataracts, he couldn't hear, and he could hardly walk, and he didn't recognize anyone. And in May of last year, I went to my brother's house and Buddy came running up to me, wagging his tail, obviously knew who I was, greeted me. His cataracts were gone. He could hear me calling him. And he was just this happy dog, reminded me of when he was a young adult dog or a puppy. And his quality of life improved. And I thought, okay, maybe there's something to these patches. So I went ahead and bought in. And in July, I started wearing the patches consistently full time. And since that time, there have been many subtle changes with me, some pretty profound changes. My energy levels are back to where they were when I feel like I'm 40 again. I don't feel 61. My bone has grown back in my jaws. I went to the dentist a month ago. Last year in the spring, I lost 3 teeth, and my pockets were 7s and 8s. And I went to the dentist a month ago, and my bone has grown back on scans. My pockets are 1s and 2s. I'm now able to put implants in without any kind of bone reconstruction surgery. And my teeth are strong enough to hold a bridge on the other side, which is phenomenal, which means my quality of life continues to remain high. And then I was talking to a friend about that time. We were having lunch, and I was telling her about all the great things that have happened to me from using the LifeWave patch. And one of the things that I was talking and I was sharing with her, I have significant PTSD from some extreme trauma when I was growing up. And I was telling my friend, I said, and I just feel my brain has balance. I handle stress better. I don't get freaked out as easy. I'm just calmer. And then I had this recognition, this epiphany. It was an interesting one. But, from the time I could remember growing up, I've never been suicidal, but I've always been like, if you wanted to take me today, I'm ready to go home. I don't want to be here anymore. And that has been with me my entire adult life. I'm a therapist. I've been to counseling. I've done all those things. I've tried some medication. None of that has helped me manage that. It's just something I've lived with for most of my life. And I realized, and I have no idea when it went away, but I realized as I was talking to my friend, wait, I haven't had that thought in months. I haven't said to God in the morning, hey, I'm ready to come home. That to me is just incredible. And the final incredible thing that has happened for me on these patches, well, I have 2 other final things. The first one is I went to my doctor 6 months ago. My blood pressure was high, 160 over 100. She says, well, I'm going to come back in 15 minutes and do your blood pressure again. And I'm thinking, God, what am I going to be able to do to reduce my blood pressure? So I did some deep breathing to help re-engage my parasympathetic nervous system. Breathe in by 4, out by 5. Did a couple of those, rubbed my neck gently here to engage my parasympathetic nervous system. I'm thinking, this never works, but whatever. And she came back and did my blood pressure, and it was normal. And she said, what are you doing? And I said, well, I'm using these patches. And I gave her some samples of patches, and I sent her to the X39. Start now, maybe it was last week. It just is running together. But I go to my doctor, my blood pressure is normal on the first run. And we go through all of my tests, and my blood glucose is normal within normal limits and has gone down. I have high cholesterol. My good cholesterol is higher. My bad cholesterol is lower. And those lipids, that allow the cholesterol to go into your bloodstream have cut in half. It cut by 1/3. And she looked at me and she said, what are you doing? And I said, I'm using those patches that we talked about. She went, So I don't know if she's ready to hear about my patches yet, but next year, when my results are even more phenomenal, she'll be ready to hear about my patches. And the last thing is, Kathleen was with me this weekend, and we ice waved up my arm. Yesterday, I looked like the queen of patches. I had patches here, I had ice wave here, I had Aeon here and here. So I had a whole bunch of patches on my hand, and I was having issues with my wrist and mobility in my wrist. I couldn't even hold a coffee cup. And I want you to see that has been all healed.